Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, good morning, bonjour, hola. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Ken at 10. How are you today? Hope you're doing well. If you're joining us for the first time, then thank you so much for doing so. If you're back, then welcome back. This is Ken at 10, where we talk about all things property. We are James Alexander Estate Agents. We broadcast live from our offices in Southwest London, Southwest 16, Norbury to be precise. Where is that? I hear you scream. It's between Streatham and Croydon. Streatham to the north and Croydon to the south. We're smack bang in the middle, kind of the A23 thoroughfare, if you like, but we're much more than that, much better than that. If you're looking for a home to buy, you want a commutable area, we're zone 3. You're looking for buy-to-let investment, we're fantastic for that. Full of lovely people too. So how are you doing today? Hope you're having a good day. We're back with the property news as always. Friday, my favorite day of the week always. Why? Just love it. There's something about Friday for me. First of all, it's the expectation of a weekend, which I love. Something about weekends being a special time when we kind of do other things. Also, Fridays are great because they're the day we get everybody out viewing. They're the day that we try our best to pressure everybody, not in a nasty way, but just to phone everybody up and make sure that they're viewing and they're looking at houses in our price ranges, that they're doing so through us. So we're calling people up, seeing what they're doing, seeing if they're viewing houses, making sure they know about all the ones we've got available, getting them out for the weekend. Because Saturday's the most popular day of the week, and you hear it out there. That is the petrol queues going crazy as always. It's nuts out there still. Really, the queues have been 3-4 days now. It's been crazy, isn't it? Really crazy. But yeah, sorry. Back to what's going on. So yeah, Saturdays are a different day. It's when we get to meet people for the first time quite often. It's nice to be out and about and actually meeting people, putting a name to a face and finding out more about their personal situation, getting their feedback firsthand, and then feeding that back to our vendors and letting them know what people thought. So always exciting time for me, the weekend. The expectation of the weekend, just personally, I just love it. But also from a property point of view, the day when we try and get everybody out and viewing for the weekend is really critical too. So apart from that, the weather here in SW16 is kind of overcast really. And, this petrol shortage has put a bit of a taint on things, hasn't it? Really feels like the first time that autumn's really started to kick in. It's a little bit chillier than it has been. And on top of that, looks like it's going to rain. It's been raining quite heavily this morning. And then we've got the madness with the fuel crisis. Absolutely crazy out there. Let's go through a few of the house price headlines today. First of all, an article from the BBC News, City AM and Daily Mail. Nationwide says that UK house price growth slowed in September with the average price up just 0.1%. Might as well have said neutral, mightn't they? Far lower growth than the 2% recorded in August. The month-on-month increase means the average price hit 248,742 last month. The prime property market is shifting back to cities. This is encouraging for those of us that are commuter belt or in the city. Daily Telegraph article, and this is from Savills. It says a race for space in the pandemic has pushed the price growth of the most expensive homes outside cities to its highest level for 11 years. From June to September, the price of prime regional homes jumped 2% compared with the previous 3 months, according to Savills. The data suggested the trend is starting to reverse as inner commuter locations recorded the largest quarterly price growth of any area in the country at 2.4%. Well, that's interesting and quite a distinct change from what we've seen over the pandemic with the exodus of people leaving cities, and quite encouraging. We said it would happen, and now with the pandemic easing, it does seem it's starting to come. In London, the return to the office brought the strongest quarterly growth in the capital's prime rental market since March 2011. And we can echo that on the fringes as well. Huge demand for rental stock and not enough available supply for people. It's quite shocking, really, the lack of supply. A lot of people are taking the advantage of the pandemic where house prices have risen with the stamp duty deadline to get rid of some of their buy-to-let investments, and that has led to a shortfall across the board. Property Mark is seeking a review of stamp duty. Property Mark are the overarching body that look after or supervise estate agents, surveyors in the UK, and their Mark Hayward, who is their chief policy advisor, stated, with the holiday at an end, it is now timely to review the outdated levels at which people start paying stamp duty to reflect market demand, average house price, and wage growth. Property Market said his figures show the average number of buyers per branch a month increased by more than 100 between July 2020 and August 2021 during the tax holiday. The number of sales agreed per branch increased to an average of just over 11 per month, compared with the 8 in the 14 months beforehand. 19% of homes sold for over the asking price during the holiday, compared with 4% before it was introduced. But I think, it's all very well calling for stamp duty reform. The difficulty is it's the easiest tax in the world for the government to collect. They don't actually do anything for it. All they do is watch it roll in. So from their point of view, in an environment where they need to get tax in from the spending with furlough and everything else, I don't see it changing anytime soon. I'd love to see it change, but I don't see it happening. I think stamp duty is here as that thing that you've just got to realise and hold your breath. What I think I'd like to see happen with stamp duty, for me, it should be paid by sellers, not buyers. Why? Because sellers have equity, generally speaking. And where sellers have equity, then it would make sense to me that there's a charge on that rather than a charge on the buyers who are struggling maybe to get on board, and it's harder for them to find that extra bit of money. If there's equity in the property and they can release that to pay the duty, that would make more sense to me. So I'd love to see a change like that, but I don't see the government changing anything when they can milk both ends of that as they can at the moment. It's too easy for them to just leave it where it is and bank loads of money for doing very little. Another article from City AM, eviction orders jumped 43% since the end of pandemic protection. Eviction orders from landlords and letting agents jumped 43%. This is between the end of the eviction ban, 1st June to 1st of September, according to new data compiled by our friend Paul Champlina at Landlord Action. The majority of inquiries, approximately 90%, are from landlords wanting clarification on the latest legislation, looking to evict tenants for non-payment of rent or expressing a desire to exit the buy-to-let market. Landlord Action added that it was having to warn landlords about delays of gaining possession due to the requirement for review hearings and a backlog of cases. Well, we've experienced this a lot, where landlords wish to sell, tenants don't wish to go, and they find themselves in a difficult position at both ends. Some landlords choose to grease the palms of their tenants to get them going early. That sometimes works for both parties. Some rely on the courts, and this is taking much, much longer. An article from The Guardian says the universal credit cut is to affect renters on benefits. Well, of course, those that are relying on benefits will find their rentals maybe harder to extract from their tenants now, given that they're getting less money. So it's a tricky situation there for those with benefit tenants. Apart from that, what else is going on? That's about it. The economy recovery is faster than expected. The Office for National Statistics show that the economy is recovering and increased by 5.5% between April and June. That was up from an initial estimation of 4.8%. The economy was still 3.3% smaller than in Q4 2019, the last quarter before the pandemic hit. Analysis shows that whilst household spending was the biggest contributor, this driven up as restrictions eased in April. The ONS also revised its Q1 figure, estimating the economy shrunk by 1.4 rather than 1.6%. So what does that tell us? Well, inflation is with us, isn't it? The other thing it tells us, and I've been saying this for some time, it's not financial advice, but you should listen up. Interest rates are at historic lows. We do have inflation knocking on the door. When inflation knocks on the door, at some stage, the Bank of England could intervene and look at increasing interest rates. I don't see it happening in the near future, but I do think that the sentiment is changing. And we could find that as the economy and the unlocking continues and the economy goes on apace, that the Bank of England decide that actually now's the time to push interest rates just a little bit. And if they do, so the rates on mortgages will go up. And with so many sub 1% deals out there, you know, it does make sense to look at your own personal circumstances, both on your buy-to-let properties or portfolios and your personal homes if you have mortgages. I say this is not financial advice, purely for information, but if I were you, I'd be checking out with my independent financial advisor and Googling what deals are out there for fixed rates, because you could do well to fix in. Do bear in mind, though, if you've got a fixed rate, there can be interest rate penalties as well attached to that. Not financial advice, but we're just saying it would be prudent to have a look at that, especially if you've got a big mortgage. So think about that. Apart from that, looking forward to a great day today. Got a fantastic valuation which is about to go on in a minute. And the last one we had on this particular location was absolutely off the scale. So many people fighting for it. It was amazing. I'm off on holiday next week, so won't be here. Intend to do a bit of remote Ken at 10, so I hope you enjoy those, and look forward to seeing you then. Apart from that, have a fantastic weekend. Look after your family and friends. See you soon. Ciao.